Joining us now is the governor of Nebraska, Pete Ricketts. Governor, good to see you and welcome. A very big day in Nebraska, primary day there. And thanks so much for coming on, taking the time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. As voters head to the polls today for the primaries, Governor, I'll talk about that. But before we get into that, if I can, we were just talking about inflation. And there's this poll out right here by CNN showing that 55% of Americans think President Biden's policies have worsened conditions for the economy. 19% say his policies have improved the economy. And President Biden, again, as you know, will address inflation later this hour. I'm curious to know, Governor, how inflation is affecting constituents, citizens there in Nebraska.
Well, we certainly see inflation all over the place, whether it's food prices, diesel's up over $5 a gallon, which impacts our farmers and ranchers. And that's our largest industry here in the state. Obviously, it impacts truckers as well. One trucker told me that it's $1,500 to fill up his tank. So this is having a huge impact, and it is directly related to what the Fed has been doing, building the balance sheet, which is basically creating more money in the economy. And then, of course, the partisan stimulus package that was passed in March of 21. You can tie inflation directly back to that. When you pass a $1.9 trillion package like that, strictly with Democrat votes, inflation took off. That was lighting the fuse. So the president is a little late now trying to fix this. And of course, the things he's putting in his plan really aren't going to fix it. They're really things that either aren't tied to the economy. It's like he doesn't even have economists advising him. It really has to get back to, you've got to start making sure that we're controlling spending at the federal level, and the Fed has got to take action to start raising interest rates.
Yeah, and a lot of this blame, again, the president's going to speak at 11:30 around that time, and there's a slight release of what he's going to say and how he's going to blame Republicans and their ultra MAGA spending and how they're going to put more taxes out there for about 75 million Americans. Washington Post gave him 3 Pinocchios for that in terms of Republicans trying to raise taxes, meaning that's not true as you look at the gas prices there.
Yeah.
But do you think Americans are still concerned about who's to blame and just saying, hey, find a solution, fix the problem, we can't afford this?
Well, ultimately, that's exactly what Americans want, is they want a solution, and they're going to hold the president accountable because he's the one in charge right now. It was his policies that led to this. It's going to have to be him that is going to take the responsibility for putting the proper policies in place. And the things I saw in the high-level proposal that the White House put out are not solutions. This, to me, looks more like a blame game from the president.
All right, I want to switch now to Nebraska if I can. West Virginia, primary day. Your great state, primary day as well. Term limits obviously preventing you, sir, from running again. But which GOP candidate do you think will secure victory there? Who do you think would be best for your state? Because I know, if I believe this correct, you've endorsed candidate Jim Pillen. Why is that?
Yeah, that is correct. Jim is a businessman who grew his business here in Nebraska. He is a Christian conservative man. He's going to bring his business practices to continue to build on what we've done in my administration, where we brought business practices to running government more like a business. And so I hope that he'll build on my foundation and take it to the next level. And he's really the only candidate that has the qualifications to do that. The other candidates really don't. Either they're too liberal or they grew their businesses in a state like Missouri. Jim Pillen's the man.
I do want to ask you about this. Are you scared of the Trump endorsement? That seems to be something that has been powerful in the Republican field, in the GOP. We know President Donald Trump has endorsed Charles Herbster for governor. Herbster, though, accused of inappropriate behavior with multiple women. Do you think the Trump endorsement will give Herbster a win today, or does his history haunt him?
Well, when it comes to President Trump, he and I agree on many different policies. In this case, we've picked different candidates in the primary race, and that's not unusual. But when it comes to who will be leading the state of Nebraska, Nebraskans will be the ones who make that choice ultimately. And that's why I think Jim Pillen, who is actually the true Nebraskan who grew his business here, will be the one who wins this race today.
All right, and final thoughts really quickly from you. Roe v. Wade may be overturned this summer with that draft leak that you saw. It doesn't make abortion illegal, but what it does, it sends it back to the states. So are you leading the state at this moment? Would you agree with that if it was overturned and legislation being sent down to the states to handle abortion laws? Your final thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Roe versus Wade was a horrible decision nearly 50 years ago. It took away power from the states. This, again, according to the Constitution, and that's what we should be guided by. The powers not specifically outlined to the federal government should go back to the states. This is one where the states should be regulating this, and I look forward to this Roe versus Wade being overturned, and for us having the opportunity here in Nebraska to do more to protect preborn babies.
All right, Governor Pete Ricketts from Nebraska. Big day there, Governor. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to the viewers today. We appreciate it.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime.